Check 1, 2, check.
Let me know when you're good, KJ.
I think we're good.
Okay. Chanel, you all set? Wes, you good? All right, guys, we'll start with an opening statement from Coach.
All right. First off, I just want to thank everyone for being here. I want to start out by thanking, our fans. That was a tremendous environment, Saturday afternoon. Our alumni, our student section was incredible. I thought they were electric the whole game, and I thought it was really special. I think that made a difference in the football game. Going back and watching the film, I really felt like a very dominating, complete performance in all three phases. Offensively, rushed for over 200 yards, 5.7 yards per carry. They came into that game giving up 2.9, so that was a big deal, and I think you really felt that in the fourth quarter, and I think we established our physicality there. Defensively, I don't know if we've given up a touchdown in the last couple games. Our red zone defense is just absolutely off the charts. And everyone asks, what are you doing special down there, Coach? I think our guys are just determined. They're focused. They're not fazed by how the opponent got down there, whether it's an explosive play or driving, and they just dig in and do their jobs. I mean, the explosive play rate that we're giving up right now is just exceptionally low. I don't know if I've ever been part of a defense like this. Tremendous performances by a lot of individuals. Nick Anderson continues to do great things. And we showed it this morning. His effort in the corner of the end zone right there just embodies who we are as a team and who he is as a captain. And obviously special teams. I mean, 2 blocked field goals. We get our hand on a third, which would have been a national record, and it goes between the pipes. And I want everyone to know, that's no accident. Coach Witt trains those guys. Those guys believe they can go out there and impact the game and the play. I thought we had a couple other things on special teams we had schemed up that we just didn't quite get to or execute. The best version of our team is still out there. I think that's the exciting part when we watch the tape with our team. So I think that's exciting. And then moving on to this week, I know I'll get a bunch of questions about the Carolina game, but this is the biggest week to me. Okay, it's our senior game. It's the last time our players will step foot in a Legacy Federal Credit Union Stadium. I owe a lot to this group of people. It's going to be 30 guys that we're going to honor. Mountcastle Insurance will be the game sponsor. And I do want to read all these guys' names off, so bear with me on this, but this is really important to me. Nick Anderson, Robbie Ashford, Sterling Burkhalter, Karate Brenson, Quincy Bryant, Damon Claiborne, Jamario Clemens, Will Cobb, Matt Dennis, Fali'i Fa'amui, Eni Falai, Dylan Hazen, Devin Kalani, Jaden Loving, Alec Marenko, Karan Prunty, Sora Racanelli, George Sell, Lardarius Webb, BJ Williams, Mason Andrade, Tate Carney, Kevin Check, Kalen Doyle, Brandon Hoyle, DJ Johnson, Matt Lasardi, Wesley Strobel, Ian Versteeg, and Luke White. Just these guys have set the tempo and the tenor of our program the moment I've gotten here. Just really excited to honor these guys and to kind of channel that emotion of the game. Obviously, just like I said last week, fans, alumni, students show up for these guys. They pour their heart and soul into this team. They wear the WF with pride. We want to send them out on a high note, and we have an opportunity to do that. This Delaware team, obviously offensively is lighting up the scoreboard. A different and unique challenge. I mean, they're throwing for over 300 yards a game. The quarterback is electric. He's got 9 rushing touchdowns, 19, 15, 18. I mean, these guys can go out there and make a bunch of big plays. Defensively, the structure of it is really challenging and different and unique from what we've been seeing the last few weeks. Special teams, they got 13 explosive plays, and I think they're extremely well coached. So the focus will be on us as we prepare for Delaware, honoring those seniors and sending them out the right way. So with that, I'll open it up for any questions.
Jake, most of us were making our way from the press box to the press conference room at the conclusion of the game. Mm-hmm. So we were a little bit out of the loop in the press conference room, so let's close the circle. You and Bill Belichick at that handshake. The video's gone viral. It was pretty frosty from Belichick. What, anything between the two of you? Do you think he was upset about that last touchdown?
I think the bottom line, I didn't even think anything of it, if I'm being completely honest. I didn't expect a hug in that situation. We just kept shaking hands and we moved on. And I think both coaches recognized a very emotional moment. I just wanted to get the team off the field. I think he wanted to get his team off the field. I think that's the way, I looked at it and I took it. When you get, you just got to open that door right there. Yep. I know it feels like a bomb's gonna go off, it's not, right? Just overheating. So biggest thing, where was that? Oh, the last situation, he's got a timeout. You know, like how he handles the end of the game situation is probably a little different than I would. I would have used it right after first down. In no situation, we're not gonna give him the ball back with 30 seconds left to get a big explosive play, to get an onside kick and get a Hail Mary, right? So we're gonna finish out that sequence. We were not going to run a play. He took a timeout. Like, you're not going to kick a field goal in that situation and have an opportunity potentially for it to get blocked. So you're going to run another play. And we ran our best play with Robbie to the corner. So that's kind of how that last sequence, you know, panned out. And that's what we were thinking. I mean, I'm very analytically driven, you know, even in their late game situation, you know, we probably would have went for some of those fourth downs trying to catch up. So, that's just the way the game unfolded, and that's the way we executed our side of it.
Jake, you mentioned this is the biggest game yet. As you try to make sure that your team doesn't overlook Delaware, does it help that it's senior day and these guys want to have, you know, their last hurrah here at home?
I think that's part of it. You know, I've been a part of senior days too, where you get too emotional. You know, I think sometimes I like when they're the second game. If I'm being honest, we still got a great rivalry game. We still got the bowl game. Just to make sure they channel that emotion. You know, we got guys in this list of 30 guys that have been here 6 months, guys that have been here 6 years. I mean, this is the new senior day. So it's got to mean something to them. This team's got to mean something to them. But by no means are we going to overlook Delaware. We're not going to allow that excuse to creep into our minds. Built in the Dark is about staying on the process. The spotlight's trying to find us. I get it. I mean, as they should, and these guys have earned that. But our preparation has to stay the same. That'll be the message when we get to our opponent preview with the team this afternoon.
Following up on the meaning of senior day, this is the new reality where some guys have only been here 6 months, like you say, but does that change the meaning to you?
No, because I think anytime someone says yes in today's world to come play with you, there's a trust involved there, right? And I think you got a blend of 30 guys. Not all these guys have gotten what they wanted. They not have all gotten their way. They not all played. But I think they've all made tremendous impacts. I look at Karate Brenson, right? He's a professional. He comes to work every day. Then he's out there, you know, on the fumble Ruski play, okay? That which we scripted that, right? Well, he was down the field 30 yards blocking for Carlos to score. And that just doesn't happen by accident. You know, Sterling Burkhalter, you know, big drop early in the game. Okay, what does he do? The next opportunity, 4 plays later, catches the ball and he racks it for a first down, right? So there's a lot of stories like that. I'm just really proud of these guys. Alec Marinko, just a tremendous value that he's brought to our team, special teams wise. You guys don't get to see the impact he makes on some of the younger guys. And I can kind of go through this whole list of guys that haven't made big impacts maybe on the field, but are glue guys in our football team that lead to the success that you're seeing.
Speaking of karate, you're without Chris Barnes. You haven't had Micah Mays for a couple games. How encouraged have you been that the receiver room is stuck together and still made plays like the play Sawyer made on the block?
And we talked about it. Maybe it was one of our more complete games on offense, especially in the physicality piece of running the football. And we're down 2 of our best playmakers. I think Robbie Ashford had one of his best games. You know, physically running it, you know, throws. There's always going to be a couple that he wants to have back. Really proud of Carlos. You know, to go out there and through kind of the waves of the season, and it has been waves, to go out and find a way to have 2 of his best football games the last 2 weeks. I'm really proud of that kid. And yeah, karate was ready. Sawyer Racanelli, I mean, what can you say about that guy? Every time we give him an opportunity, he takes advantage of it. So Chris and Michael will be back at practice on Tuesday, and you guys won't get the injury report, okay? But we're hopeful to build them back up to be at least game time decisions, and we'll go from there.
Coach, you've seen like the last few weeks of kind of fallen in love with that little split back look with Ty Clark and Devon out there. Is that rewarding a little bit more Ty Clark? Is that maybe not trying to have some tells on pass blocking runs, or is it just something you think is really found some success there?
Yeah, I think we started off as like, okay, now we're down to 1 tight end. We better have a 2-back look. And then as we started to play with it a little bit, we just continued to evolve those 2 guys getting on the field at the same time and the multiplicity that it presents. So I think it's been good the way we've kind of packaged our plays off of it. And yeah, a lot of it's for Demond to get the ball in different ways, but now you use Demond out in the flat and you give Ty, you know, the ball. I think they've done a good job of evolving that package, and we'll continue to use that in different ways. It started in the spring, same thing. We didn't have any tight ends, so like, let's kind of see what two tailbacks can look like. And, Coach Ezel's never used it that way. So I give it credit to our offensive staff. Obviously our defense has been phenomenal, been the story of a lot of our season. It hasn't been ideal on that side of the ball, but personnel, moving, players in and out, our guys have really gutted it out and are still bought in. They're not still bought in, but they're buying in to finding a way. And that's what I mean. We've possessed the ball almost 23 minutes in the fourth quarter of the last two games out of a total of, 30 minutes. So we found ways to be really physical at the end of football games.
And on the other side of the ball, I know you've been down Rashawn and Deshaun Williams, but while Nick and Karan get all the highlights, what have you seen out of our Darius Webb the last few weeks? Just feels like he's made hits, made PBUs kind of flown all over the field. Kind of seen last week with the gold shoes on, so he really kind of stuck out.
Yeah, I think those are like gold dip shoes. I don't get into all that, but it looked nice. Darius has a huge passion to play and prepare. He's one of the guys that I see up here, maybe more than anybody else. He's really confident in his skills and ability. I think you need that at corner. He's got a short memory, right? Where if something beats him, he comes back out and he goes out there and plays. And, I think he carries the right edge. You need to play that position. So, once again, Sasha went down in spring. Obviously, a couple other injuries, here and there, and he stepped up to the plate and has really been an elite, consistent performer for our defense. So, once again, to have a defense like this, you need those guys. I said it after the game. We got a lot of Aiden Halls, right? Webb's one of those guys, right? That just comes in and steps up and plays really, really well. Jaden Loving, I hate to say it, but the guy is fast. He tracked down another quarterback. So we got a lot of those performances happening at one time that lead to, the success that we're having as a collective on defense.
Why do you hate to say Jaden Loving's fast?
Because he'd be the first one to tell you about it, and, but it is actually true. It's facts. So I got to give him his flowers, I guess, as the young people would say.
You mentioned on Saturday after the game that you've told us before this season that you told the seniors that this was not a throwaway year. This was not a giveaway year. You also acknowledged Saturday that this was going to be a rebuilding process. Like when you're recruiting, this is a process. You threaded the needle of both of those things because they seem like they would be contrasting statements.
Yeah, I mean, I just think not enough people really focus on the now, right? I mean, as we have a 3-year plan that we've presented and that we're working towards and all types of things, like taking advantage of what's right in front of you. And football is a crazy game, where, you bring a different team to the field every week. The mentalities of the young people change. The perception of how you look at it changes. And the more consistent you can be to that approach, the better you can be. But as we started to add pieces to this roster, I've compared it to teams that we've had in the past, and we just gotta be like, man, offensive line, maybe better. Tailback, better. Okay, collective pieces that were receiver, defensive line, secondary, just started to be like, we can win football games. And we started to really feel that and see that. And then, once again, we just gained collective belief of the team, I think, in the way we've approached this season. So, once again, I can't give the guys that. They have found that in their own unique way, and they're leading it right now.
That goes to, I think, the belief in playing a strong 30 minutes against NC State and then not. You mentioned how you had to lose that game to kind of be where you are now, and then how much of it also was playing a team, Georgia Tech, that looks positioned to be in Charlotte, and you're one call away from winning that one.
Trying to get me fired up, I see. Okay, don't get quite fired up. Yeah, I mean, the failures, our guys have done a really good job, because I think, like, Sterling Burkhalter was a great example. I showed Braylon Johnson this morning in the team meeting. It's really hard to see things that you don't do well and be mature about it and attack the process to say, I needed that truth. I needed to see that failure. It sucked in front of 105 guys, but go attack it the next week, right? So Braylon, it was tough to watch himself miss those tackles. Came back in and had a couple really good plays, setting his shoulder. We showed that, right? So I think it's just the way we emphasize it, so we communicate with our guys, I think is pretty elite. And these guys have responded to us in the way that we coach. And not just me, our whole coaching staff.
Jake, you used the term waves to reply to Carlos Hernandez's season. Certainly, the season at quarterback has been in waves between the two. But when you talk to Robbie, Robbie does not lack confidence in Robbie. How much does that play into your kind of faith in him right now as you're getting towards the end of the season and whatever his growth curve may be?
I think more than anything, like eliminating like Robbie, like we stayed true to what we said. The best guy that went out and earned it would play. And we stayed true to that. And those two know that. We made the best decision for the team then. We made the best decision for the team every game. And, so I think that's what I'm proud of him about. His confidence never does wane, right, which is good because you need some of that at that position. But I think he's worked with us well. There's been times where we've had to really push him, had to really challenge him, had to really call him out in front of the group. And I think he's responded to those things too. I think his leadership ability has grown. And the more he plays the way he's playing, and you show that to the team, like this is your quarterback, guys, trucking the safety. Okay, in the second quarter, not in the fourth quarter, right? And, someone asked me after the game, maybe he doesn't need to do that probably. Okay, but it says who he is in this moment and what he's feeling. Okay, and that's a heart thing, right? He's playing through a certain lens that he knows, like, this is what the team needs. And it's hard work to get there. And credit to that kid. He's had a lot of adversity. Even his time here, with his dad passing, he's been very vocal about that. We helped him through all that, and to see him have some success, really proud of him.
And by the way, it was me who asked about your thoughts on him lowering his helmet.
Okay,
from his
okay.
shoulder to take
I'm not sure what I said at that time, but let's be safe too.
Yeah, he wasn't backing away from
That's
it
right.
either when we asked him. He
That's
just
right.
said, that's just who I am.
Yep.
Sawyer Racanelli's blocking on the flea flicker. That play has now become stuff of urban legend. We've heard anywhere from he blocked 4 players to Robbie saying he blocked the entire defense all
Okay.
in one play. If you
I
come
like
to the
Robbie's
resolution
version.
Watching it, how many players did he block on that?
He blocked 3, 2 took a bad angle, and 1 gave up on the play. So I count like Operation Human Shield. That's 6. Okay, so and credit to Carlos for threading the needle and getting through there. What big play in the game. Credit to Sawyer.
You mentioned the confidence a lot. We talked about Robbie's confidence, but after the game, every guy that came in that room, I felt like the confidence was through the roof. Does it help that they did what they did in front of that crowd on Saturday? And also, you guys have had a lot of down to the final drive situations this season, but the fact that they were, pulling away at the end, do you think that helps confidence-wise as well?
Yeah, and I actually like to use the word conviction because I think confidence is an emotion, and sometimes that's like a feeling that comes and goes. Like these guys are convicted in their hard work, and when you see your hard work pay off, I think it's the biggest thing that you can ever really have as a high performer, as an individual. So I think that's what you're seeing more than anything. But I think after this game, you felt the pride of this game, right? And not the hoopla of the other side. Just about us trying to prove ourselves right. I say that all the time. And also putting some respect on Wake Forest football. Our kids feel that. Our program feels that. Our alumni feel that. And I think to do that for a day and a moment, our players deserve that. Our university deserve that win. And you got to keep earning it. We'll play those guys every year. You guys know about these rivalries. They're not easy. So you just keep, understanding the work from everybody that goes into it. And I don't mean just the football players. Okay, our administration, our faculty, our students that showed up in that environment, it matters. I keep saying it matters. You want to be a big-time football program, that matters. So that was a great step in the right direction.
Jake, after the, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Hey, we need to discuss where you are developing depth on the O-line right now.
We're as thin as it gets. Unfortunately, we're going to miss George Stye for the rest of the season. He's been a warrior. He's played multiple positions. He's been just absolutely incredible. The development of that young man and our time here and his future is so bright. This is going to be a minor setback, and I know how hard he's going to attack the process. Fortunate or not fortunate, just exactly on the week that Clint comes back and he's eligible to play. The plan was to have him in a lesser role than that. And Clint Richards just steps up and shows once again how wildly talented he is. The 2 freshman backup tackles, obviously they're live up now that George is down. And it's been a committee. We probably have not given our offensive line enough credit. And what they did in that fourth quarter, they knew we were going to run the ball. we knew we were gonna run the ball, and it just keep moving the chains. It was like, it's like coaching heaven, like, you know what I mean? Especially for a defensive guy. So it was just awesome to see that way, and in that group, George Sell, I mean, Melvin Ciani, Claney, like, I think he's got like duct tape on all his joints, right, trying to make it through this season. Just incredible efforts by that, and Coach Castor and Coach Webb are coaching these guys at an elite level.
Jake, you've talked throughout the season about being true to the things you said, you know, your words to the players. That was brought up by some of the players post-game on Saturday, especially someone like Nick Anderson, who's been through a lot in his time here. Is that something that, and to that point, he said, this is exactly what Coach told us from the first meeting I ever had with him. Is that something that you build into your assistants when you're putting your staff together, that this is the identity of what we have to be to the players?
Yeah, you know, we have a coach's handbook like most, but just like we do with a team, we start out every semester, and Scott's seen it, like, from everyone that touches a football player, here's who we are. Here's how we talk about it. Here's what the standard of best means. Here's what Built in the Dark represents. And we can't think that our academic team, who's the best in the country, needs to say the same message. Athletic training, Allison's the best in the country. They need to say the same message. Coach Ben in the weight room. So I think a unifying message and understanding like why we say those things, so it's not just like posters on the wall. Like those things are cool. Built in the Dark sounds good, but if it doesn't mean something to every individual in our program, especially like the coaches, the support staff, the training, like you don't really have anything. You just have a bunch of posters. So the players feel the connectedness of the staff. Okay, and I told you about those 4 OVs. When they leave and get in kind of the exit meetings, they talk about the unifying message they hear in every phase of our program. That doesn't happen by accident, right? So really proud of that. I think it's one of the best things they can ever tell me. So like we work hard at that. And I think the players, to your point, do feel that and they feed off that. Really proud of the people, the men and women in our program that we have here and all the unsung like jobs they're doing to create our success. It's been really special to be a part of.
Anything else for Coach Cass? All right.
All right, appreciate it, everybody. Go Deeks.